Welcome to week 34 of Cougs on Cougs. We are 1-0 after a win this weekend against Arizona.
Dang straight, we're going to live that up. We have a packed show today. We have three guests. So we have Carson and Ryan, who are in our Utah troll video. And then we actually, put out the olive branch, is that what people say, to Andrew Fox, and we talk with him a little bit about Utah football. But we are going to start with our notable quotable, and this was actually tweeted out by our long snapper's dad, and we have to give a shout out to our long snapper for snapping that game-winning field goal and for just being an amazing snapper in general.
Loved it.
So what's our quote, Jess?
This is from Ken Foley. Champions believe in themselves even when no one else does.
Yes, and we couldn't find where to credit that quote to. We think it's just a thing that people say in sports, but we like it. So, okay, we're going to get right into some of our interviews with Carson and Ryan, and the first thing we talked with them about was the Arizona game, which they were at, so we get the scoop on that. We are joined now by our two favorite video cameo people. I don't know what to call them, but here's Ryan and Carson. They are both BYU students, they're seniors, and members of the Rock Board, very, very official. So make sure you follow the BYU Rock if you're not following them. And then also Ryan is at RyTRas, right? I'll put that up for you. And then Carson is Carson_Crosby. So we have a lot of things we're going to talk with them about, but first we're going to start with, they were down at the Arizona game. We are very envious.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
What do we want to know about the Arizona game?
How was it?
Arizona was hot. as soon as we got out of the car, we stayed in Scottsdale. As soon as we got out of the car, we were like, "Holy crap, man!" we knew it was gonna be hot, but it was hot. It was
worth it, and not in the stadium, right? The air conditioning was on in the stadium.
Yeah, stadium had AC, so we got there early in the morning to help with some stuff, and the AC was pumped out like 58 degrees. They said.
Wow.
So in game was probably 75, which is like perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But outside.
We'll get your take on this. We've heard a lot of different things on Twitter and in the broadcast that it was 50-50. We've heard some people say it was 60-40. What split are you guys going to go with?
It was more than 50-50.
Okay.
I'd lean more towards 60-40.
Okay.
Yeah, because the BYU side, everybody BYU side's white. Like, it was whited out. And then, the Arizona side, you probably had about 20% BYU fans for sure.
Wow.
So,
how did it sound?
Yeah, that's...
It was
loud. Both
loud.
sides had their times, though. Like, at the end.
Arizona fans, I was really impressed with how loud they were at the end, considering if it really was a 60-40 split. We just want to say Carson and Ryan were at the Nebraska game. Who was the group? It was definitely you two and Robbie last year. Was Garrett with you last year?
Garrett was.
So the four of you are good luck charms, or like what's the deal? We need to know the.
We'll be in Houston next year. We're planning on going to the LSU game in Houston.
Excellent.
So.
This is the first time we are doing coaching from the couch for a football game. So it's been a long off season. We started this in January during basketball season. And even since then, it's been so long since we've been able to do this segment.
The format kind of is we talk about things that went right, that we liked, and some things that we maybe could improve, because we're all coaches from the couch on Twitter, right? That's
or Facebook or whatever it is. Yeah, so that's kind of what we want to do. So we've got Ryan and Carson here, so we are going to get their opinion as well as ours.
Yes.
So we'll start with things that we liked that we saw in the game, and then we'll go to things that we want to see improve or maybe see more of in the next game. So Ryan, let's start with you.
Awesome. Yeah, my favorite thing was for sure, everyone obviously super excited for our offense. Ty Detmer coming back.
Who?
Ty Detmer. Maybe you've heard of him. So just like the amount of offensive looks, just even in the first 2-3 series, it was just awesome to see under the gun, pistol, just different things. At the end, we ran a lot of spread, jumbo packages on that 4th and 1 where we just brought in all our big guys. And
that was so sick.
Like, they were stoked. Just being there, we saw them all running on the field. They were just pumped to get out there and just, have the biggest guys and just push the other team around.
It's true.
And it was just different, something we haven't really seen a lot of in the past. And so it was really cool. The play calling and the looks, you could tell Ty, it's a chess match for him. It's a lot. It's not just our athleticism anymore. Ty's using his mind to help us put us in the best position we can offensively. So that was my favorite thing.
I love just seeing him on the sideline.
I know, right?
Seeing him in that robe.
Cherry chapstick and all.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed he wasn't wearing his cowboy boots.
Fellow Texan over here.
Maybe when it gets a little bit colder, we'll see him break out the boots.
We can only hope. My takeaway, the thing that I really liked, no turnovers. How big was that?
Huge.
I think that we saw. I mean, I wouldn't say we saw a ton of turnovers last year, but
the last game we played.
I know. That will scar you for life. But yeah, we really took care of the ball, and I think that. So not only did those new offensive looks come along, but we executed at a high level. Jamal, with how much we ran the ball, Jamal never dropped it. His ball security was great. Jonah's ball security was awesome. So, knock on wood.
Seriously.
But
we saw a stat the other day. Jamal has never lost a fumble in his entire BYU career.
That's insane.
He's fumbled it, but he has never lost. He has never lost
seriously?
possession from a fumble. Yeah. So it's going to be great. Like, obviously, last year we didn't have him. It would be really nice having him this year. So, just for that alone.
We'll knock on wood.
That was the thing I was going to say that I loved. And I know I'm not the only one. But Jamal Williams.
Yeah, we heard his name a lot, during the game.
Beast. What a beast, Jamal. Watching him, because it's been... How many months? It's been,
I think they showed his last game was in November 2014, which is nuts.
Which is also almost 2 years without seeing Jamal. And so watching him in years past, you're like, man, this dude is legit. This dude is a solid number one, solid running back. Mm-hmm. Watching him on Saturday, we did have some pretty good holes, but there were some times where he was hitting the backfield, give a little stiff arm, give a little juke move, and he's up the field. So he was the complete package. So he had the vision. He had the power and the speed.
What was he? 162 yards on 29
carries, 162 yards.
Not ever going to complain about that. Yeah. Okay, Jess.
Okay, for me, I really liked our game plan going into that. I mean, with Arizona's offense in the past, they've been really explosive and they put up a lot of points. Ty's plan, I think, really was to limit the amount of possession that they had, which he did. We ended up with about 15 minutes more. And then also that clock management at the end of the game. We got about 90 seconds to get down there and get in field goal range, and it went incredibly smoothly.
That's what went well. A lot of things went well, and most importantly, of course, that we pulled off the win. And this goes without saying, Jake Oldroyd is the thing that went first. Shout out to Jake Oldroyd.
Nothing else.
But let's move on to kind of some things that we could improve, because there's always going to be things you can improve, even if you win 50-0.
Especially after the first game.
So that's true.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Ryan.
So, yeah, one of the things I saw, I think our offense was well composed the entire game. At the end, there was a couple times where we saw there's the back-to-back, the delay of game, where we didn't get the ball off in time. No. And then there was also that false start immediately after.
That's true.
The crowd was really loud, so I understand, it's a lot to deal with. And it's the first game, and they're catching up. So it's a lot to deal with, but I'd like us to just really, just be able to sell our guys down. At least maybe in the huddle, talk it out and just say, hey, don't worry. We'll be fine. Just do you'll be good. So that was just the biggest thing, is just make sure that we can keep that composure. I like Jess said, though, in that last 90 seconds, we were great. Little scared too at the end, where we had 25 seconds and the play clock, the time was just running. Tried to snap the ball with 6 seconds. Mm-hmm. If we didn't get that penalty, we might have not got another play, honestly.
It's true.
So
it's true.
Just some of those things, just quicker execution at the
end. But I think you said 3 keywords in the huddle, so we have that opportunity.
That's also nice to have.
Calm down. So
and we'll need that going into Rice Eccles next week.
Well, yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
The thing that I would complain about if I had to, Johnny Linehan. I'm not complaining about Johnny Linehan. His punting was amazing. No way. So I can't think of a punt that I want to complain about. He was putting them exactly where he was supposed to put them. We had trouble downing a few. A lot of them we did really well on. We pinned them back. Two times, at least within the 5. But there were a few where we should have. So I would say there were probably at least 5 opportunities where we should have had them pinned back within the 5, and we were 2 for 5. So I'm not going to name any names, but we could maybe track the ball a little better and get it down where we need to get it down.
And I like that's probably an easy fix.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, that's a wonderful thing to be complaining about.
Yeah.
For me, so some things that can be improved. It kind of touched on a little bit. Just penalties, and you see it every first game. You see it in preseason NFL. You see it back in high school. First game of the year is always a mess.
Yeah.
But we still look pretty good. But there were a few penalties. So we talked about Jamal having some big runs. They got called back. Some block in the back. Some illegal shift, illegal formation, something like that. Yeah. And I feel like those are things that are pretty easily corrected, like you mentioned. Then there's false starts, which are going to happen, especially in a loud stadium.
Yeah.
There was a delay game at least once, maybe twice, where Taysom snapping the ball, but maybe it's too loud to hear, or that things that didn't get off. So just little penalties like that if we get rid of them, maybe we won a little bit more comfortably.
Yeah, true. I like that we weren't looking at any like major things, like there's not a lot of holding calls, things like some of the fundamental things that can be harder to fix. Like like Carson said, it's a lot of easy fixes where it's more just, hey, just make sure that you don't do this.
For me, I would love to see some more passes downfield. I think that was probably just...
It didn't feel like very many, but it was 29. Taysom was 21 for 29.
Yeah, he was. But a lot of them were short, slant routes, you know, and that
with
one deep ball that went to Jonah... Taysom probably could have put a little more air on it. He would have been there, but I think it was pass interference.
Still ticked.
But still then, I think you get a little more air on that, get a little ahead of Jonah, and he has that.
Well, he's got the speed.
Okay, we've still got Carson and Ryan here. We have to talk about the video that Cougs on Cougs released Monday on Vanquish the Foe. It's doing exceptionally well on the internet, as the kids say. We just did some trolling of Utah fans.
Basically, we had had Ryan and Jordan out recruiting people to be interviewed.
Yes.
And, Jordan being Mary's husband.
Our superstar producer.
Yep.
Yeah. and Ryan was in a University of Utah shirt. Helped to build trust. Seriously.
It's true.
You gotta
I think we do need to clarify that because we were getting some flack. Do you really think anyone would have believed us if we just would have gone up there in random shirts and we're asking them about Taysom Hill?
We returned them immediately
after. It was worth it.
It was a hot day. It's true. Those are back in the bookstore. Someone bought them.
I realized, I mean, you see these videos, Jay Leno, Jimmy Kimmel, they all do things like this. But it's really, you get people who are afraid of being wrong and who also want to look good on the camera. So that's really, I mean, that's really the trick to it. So you get people who, and also realize people don't want to call out people. They don't want to call out the interviewer on camera.
Yeah, no one likes confrontation.
They don't want to be confrontational, especially on camera. And so we just suggested some things, and people went along with it and agreed that Coach Sataki was a great coach, and that Taysom is the man, and Jamal's going to break the rushing record.
And that Brenton Covey is transferred. Not West Champs 2017.
Yeah, that was,
I think, let's see, there were a couple of questions that we got asked about the video, and I know Robbie's mom asked this, and my mom asked this. They could not believe that it wasn't staged and that we didn't prime them. But can we all testify?
Yeah,
we didn't prime anyone.
100% authentic.
And we didn't even talk to that many people. I mean, people were saying, you must have talked to tons of people.
That's the other thing.
Where's the outtakes from people
wanted outtakes from people who caught us. No one caught us.
Yeah.
A few people knew the legit answers to questions.
Yeah, well, so the way that it worked is I've had people ask me too, so what, I mean, did people call you out? People never called us out. So what we did is when we were setting up the camera, we kind of asked him a little bit, like,
primer questions.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback? How's the season going to turn out? Things like that. If they knew the answers, then we gave them
not really a no-go. Yeah. Thanks. See you later.
Yeah.
Give him a straight up interview. Asked him some questions.
Yeah.
How will we be this year?
Yeah.
And just send them on their way.
Yeah.
But there weren't too many of those. I mean, most of the people we talked to are in the video.
I want to say there were three. That actually knew Utah and were just, okay, sweet, thanks, man.
If you missed it, definitely check that out.
I think we know full well, too, that this could be pulled off on our campus pretty easily, too.
Oh, yeah.
And we just beat everybody to it.
It goes without saying. It's all in good fun. Trying to put some fun back into the rivalry. All right, it is rivalry week, so we have someone in a color that we don't usually allow on this show.
Not usually.
This is Andrew Fox. He is very well known on Twitter. I like to kind of think of him as the bridge between BYU and Utah.
Oh, stop.
He's a Utah fan, but he has a lot of friends on both sides. Give him a follow on Twitter. He's a good follow. He knows football, and his handle is @FoxOnABox with an underscore after. We'll put that up for you. So we're going to talk to him a little bit about Utah football, get to know the foe, since, we admittedly don't know anything about
rivalry
Utah football because we don't care, but we have to care this week.
Oh, you care. Come on.
Anyway.
Okay. So, first question I want to ask. You guys had a game last week against SUU. What was your overall takeaway from that game? How'd it go?
I talked about this a lot with some people before the game, too. It's kind of hard because it felt like a preseason game like in the NFL where you don't want to take it too seriously, but at the same time, when at the start of that game, like it was kind of slow and things look kind of sloppy, and you kind of want to melt down and just freak out and think the season's ruined.
There was some of that.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. Like I think especially on the offense-defensive line, there's a lot of problems at the start. But overall, I mean, you can't hate a shutout, and they showed some really good things that are promising for this week and for the foreseeable future.
With the game coming up this Saturday at Rice Eccles, we want to talk about your team a little bit.
Get to know what we're expecting.
This year, who are some of the players that you lost that you'll probably miss?
I think one of our bigger losses was Britton Covey, just because, I mean, I guess it's not really a loss. He's coming back. But
for now,
is he?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
He's coming back to Utah.
Not according to some of the fans we talked to this week,
I've
right?
seen one email. It's verified. I have sources. A really electric player. He's a game changer. Made things a lot easier for us. But the biggest one is Devontae Booker. I mean, probably one of the better running backs we've ever had. He was reliable. It was really easy on just to give him the rock an entire game and just let him take us to the win. So I think those are two of the bigger losses in my mind.
Who's coming back that's going to make a difference? And I suppose that's more applicable for us. Who are we looking out for?
Yeah. I think Loa Lotulelei is obviously the biggest comeback. Probably one of the best players on the team. He didn't play a whole lot against SUU.
What
and I think
position is he?
He is the nose tackle.
Okay.
And he didn't play a whole lot against SUU, whether that was for just keeping him safe or what, I don't know.
Resting him, who knows?
Yeah, and he's a monster. He holds down in the middle of that line better than anybody else.
So there's no injury concern there? He just didn't play for some reason?
No, I think they just held him out like a preseason game, like you hold out your star quarterback,
Right, yeah.
Get your other guys
when you're
experience.
that good, he doesn't need the reps. Yeah, get some other guys in there. And Kylie Fitz too. I think he's going to be big off the edge. Especially where we're facing Taysom Hill, presumably, instead of Tanner Mangum.
Presumably.
Right. Who knows? That's the beauty of BYU,
Might
right?
bring
They can just be
Tanner on
like,
you there.
nope, yeah. But Kylie Fitz is an athletic kind of guy who, especially if, what people are saying that Taysom Hill's a little bit slower just because he's a little heavier.
OMG.
He said it. Those are Taysom Hill's words.
Yes, that's true.
So
he's the only one we're taking it from verifiably.
Right. And so I think when you have a guy like Kylie Fitz who's athletic and fast as he is, that helps a lot.
Now, within that team, what would you say is the strongest unit?
The defensive line. I mean, they're rotating 5 guys who'd probably start on. I mean, I don't want to say every team in the country. That might be presumptuous, but on most teams in the country, all 5 of those guys would probably get a considerable amount of playing time. Right. So that's got to be our best unit. They didn't look great at the start of last week, but at the end of the day, we only gave up 150 yards. They couldn't run the ball at all. The defensive line's got to be our strongest unit, and I say they got to be because that's how we win games. Like, if they're not,
and
we
especially
lose.
Against Taysom Hill, right?
Right.
Okay, so on the flip side, what about your weakest unit? Where's your Achilles heel?
Probably linebacker, I would say, just because they're new. Cody Barton played last week, and he led the team in tackles. Great revelation for that game. He looked really good. But linebackers where most of the questions are, to the point where Utah actually had a couple defensive formations where they played a 5-1, so there's only one linebacker. Whether that's like some new scheme that they're like, oh, this is going to change the world, or just they didn't have enough linebackers, I don't know.
That's kind of weird.
But I'm assuming that's because you want to put your best athletes on the field, and those athletes are not at linebacker.
Being a Utah fan, Coach Satake was there for a while. Do you feel like the rivalry's changed?
Oh, yeah.
That it's different now?
Oh, man. I would love to say it has, and I think it has between coaches, but I don't know. I think between fans, it's always going to kind of suck. I like that Whittingham and Satake have a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, that can't hurt, right?
Right.
Okay.
Maybe we'll see those kidney billboards again with both of them on it.
Okay, we've got Fox here for one more segment. We started this segment last week. It's called Along the Trail to Fame and Glory. So this is technically a road game, even though it's like 45 minutes up the street.
It's an up-the-road game.
But we figured we'd ask him anyway.
We want to know, for fans that are going up to the game, maybe from out of town, maybe from down here, what are some places that they should go to eat, or what should they do before or after the game?
One of the places I really like right off of campus, and I don't want to say the pie because that's kind of a given, and it's just, I don't know, it's really heavy. Not a good pregame meal.
Okay.
But right off campus, there's another place called Porcupine Grill.
Oh.
It's a little nicer. You might have to wait a little bit, so you'd want to get there a little early or go after the game if you want to go there. But really good. Their chicken noodle soup will knock your socks off. It's really good.
So what is it, just like American food?
I mean, it's a mix of food. I don't know what kind of food. There's burritos, there's pasta, there's chicken, there's sandwiches. They have a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Really good. Another place if you want to go somewhere a little quicker and you want it to be kind of more unique to that area, Moochie's. Can't go wrong with Moochie's.
Oh, yeah. Moochie's has great
I think they have
meatballs.
one down here now, too.
Yeah.
In Lehigh, I want to say.
It's in Lehigh.
Yep.
But still, check it out if you haven't been there.
The
Really
location
good.
in Salt Lake is really cool. It's like in an old house, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's a huge picture of Guy Fieri in there. So that's kind of cool. And then if you want like the more downtown trendy, like maybe post game, there's this place on Main Street called Eva. If you go in, it's just like, it looks like a movie. It's super trendy, super cool, but it's reasonably affordable, fun. Like if you want to take a trip downtown and make a night out of the game,
really good.
That'd be a really good place to go, I think.
Okay, cool. So what about things to do?
So I was thinking about this, like Salt Lake, like, you can hike, like it's right there, but a couple of like interesting things that you might want to check out. There's this place in Salt Lake called the Gilgal Gardens. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I've never heard
There
of
is a Sphinx statue with Joseph Smith's head on it.
Oh, I've heard of it. I didn't know it's called that. I've never been there.
It's super cool, and there's all these other like religious statues and carvings and stuff, and it's free. It's right by Charlie Square on 5th South. You just walk right in. It's so cool. You go to Top Golf on your way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Hit up Top Golf.
Close enough.
Yeah, right? And then I don't know. I like walking around City Creek. I think it's just a nice mall to kind of hang out in. If you want to get there a little early and get some good parking and then tracks down or something like that.
Good idea.
Going through City Creek Mall is always fun. Good food, too, if you just want to eat there. And Temple Square is obviously right there as well. So you could do that.
Thank you for the tips.
Thank you to Fox. Thank you to Carson and Ryan. That was really fun to have everyone on the show. And if you want to be part of the Coaching on the Couch, if you want to come talk to us, tweet us, let us know. We would love to have you on. So, talk of the town. Let's get this started with our man of the hour, of course.
That would be Jake Oldroyd. And it's so funny when, this is the second year in a row where we've had a freshman come in and win a game for us. But
Miracle
with Jake,
Mingum and something Oldroyd.
Yeah, I don't know what. But
we'll think of something.
He just came out of nowhere, hit the game winner, and suddenly he's everywhere.
If you said you knew his name before the game, you're lying.
You knew nothing.
So what's our first tweet that we loved?
This is from Johnny Linehan, who's good friends with Jake's, kind of taking him under his wing. Mm-hmm. And so this is a picture of them at a movie, I think the night before the game. Yeah. And he says, Jake Oldroyd didn't eat any popcorn at the movie last night. He crunched straight ice the whole night.
We believe it.
I do.
You don't have to tell us twice. Our second tweet, this is kind of our Jake Oldroyd series, and he really does deserve his own part of this. So
there's so many good things.
This is from Boney Fuller, our favorite, who is represented on Jess's sweatshirt. Boney said, congrats to Jake Oldroyd, voted least likely to win a college football game, and boy, did he prove him wrong. What else can you say about that?
He was in high school like 6 months ago.
This is my favorite one.
This is so good. And so this is from Garrett McClintock, and he said, do you want to sing it?
No.
This is from High School Musical. Soaring, flying, there's not a star in heaven that we can't reach. I'm not going to sing it either.
It's the lyrics to Breaking Free.
When I first saw this picture, I thought he looked like Sterling Knight. I don't know if people know who that is, but he was on Disney Channel, Sunny with a Chance.
He literally looks so
He looks
little.
like a kid from the Disney Channel.
And then our last thing in our Jake Oldroyd series, and thanks to Pat Hammond for pointing this out to us, but it's from his girlfriend. He has a pretty serious girlfriend, it looks like. They were at prom together just a short while ago, and her name is Kate Jensen Blazer. And so Dick Harmon tweeted out after the game that Taysom said about Jake that he wanted to kiss him, which I think all of Cougar Nation can agree with. He could have probably lined up and gotten a lot of kisses, but Kate said that she got to. So thank you, Kate, for giving him the kiss that we didn't get to. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from Jake Oldroyd.
So this is from Pat Hammond, Crazy Hook Fanatic, who was on our show a couple weeks ago. And she tweeted out that Coach Tatake ran around the whole stadium giving high fives with the team after the game.
I know, and I know that Jess and I talked about this. To hear him just say, go Cougs, as many times as he said it, and to see him and Ty on the sideline, like, there's just this feeling about the team and how they feel about their coaches and the coaching staff and how they feel about the fans and how they feel about the coaching staff, and it's just a whole lot of love.
Yeah, one of my favorite things after the game was Taysom Hill talked about how they gave Coach Tatake the game ball. The players did, because they wanted him to know how much they love and respect him, how happy they were for him. And then Coach Tatake turned around and said that if he had a game ball to give, he would give it to the fans.
Which, that's what we're talking about, your mutual circle of love. And with those kind of relationships, that's how you win football games, right? That's true. This is from Harvey Unga, who is one of our graduate assistants. Right. And he said that he started his career with a win against Arizona as a player. And he's also starting his career as a coach with a win against Arizona. So maybe he's our good luck charm. Who knows?
He might be. I just thought that was neat. This is from before the game. And this is from Coach Mahe. Reno on Twitter. So he says, Boss Man gave us the morning before we fly out to Arizona. Taking my little monkeys for breakfast and dropping them off to school is one of my most favorite things to do.
We just really liked how cute his kids were. Like, seriously.
Kalani Boss Man.
It's great. Funny. Okay, now we have some a little bit sadder news. Mitch Matthews was cut from the Chiefs roster. I think he was still in the practice squad, which I think means that he has a possibility to get back on the roster, right?
But he's had workouts with other teams, though, too.
That's good. So but it was
I think he'll still have some chances.
But now some better news.
Polisike earned a spot on the 52-man roster, 53-man roster for the Bears. So he made it. He looked really good in some of their preseason games.
We retweeted a video of him just trucking fools. Gosh, I miss him. Another thing we wanted to point out, so we kind of were wondering with the new coaching staff if the Thursday's Hero tradition was going to carry on, and it looks like it is, but it's not called Thursday's Heroes anymore. It is called True Blue Hero, which is great. It still looks like it's the same concept, and this really cute kid, his name is Max Brown, got to hang out with the BYU football team for a day, so we love to see that. So a little bit of basketball news here, right?
Yes.
Tad bit. Don't forget about basketball. It's coming eventually.
It's coming. Zach Frampton is actually finally back from his mission. We've
That's
been kind
the
of
whole
waiting.
Team, ladies and gents.
That is it. So he's back. The man, the myth, the legend.
I had never seen him, so that's what he looks like. There you go. There's our walk-on.
He's back. So that should be everyone.
Our other basketball thing is that Eric Mika is now married. So there is a Gabby Mika among us. So congratulations to the happy couple. This photo is from Abigail Keenster, who is one of our favorite photographers, right?
Love her stuff.
So cute. So this is them when they got out of the temple. We saw some Snapchats from Elijah from their reception, which just looked absolutely beautiful. So that happened on game day. I feel like it did kind of get lost in all of the game day stuff, but congrats to them.
The other thing that happened, if you missed it, was Nick Emery's birthday last week, and Jackson Emery posted a video of him dunking on Nick, which was really funny.
We did share that to our Twitter account, so go check that out. There was one more thing we wanted to address really quickly, right?
Yeah, so we saw on Twitter this week that there's a few people talking about and maybe asking us about what advice do we have to get their wives and girlfriends to watch sports, specifically football. And we have some thoughts about this. First of all, you can't really force any of that.
No, there's not really a trick to it. It's not a condition that you can cure someone of.
You just gotta accept them as they are, I think.
Exactly.
But I was thinking about this, and I did have one thing to say. And I think that in sports, what gets people to watch and gets people to love the game is the players and the stories behind them. I mean, that's one thing with the Olympics. Like, most of the time, we don't watch any of those sports, and we don't really care.
True.
But you get to the Olympics, and you get these backstories, and you get to know
and you get really
the athletes and everything. Yeah, you become invested. You care about how they perform and everything, and you want to cheer for them.
That's true.
So I feel like with a lot of players, you know, on the football team, especially our team, get to know their stories. I mean, Taysom Hill is a perfect example of a guy you want to root for.
We talk about how they should make movies about them all the time. Our team has so many different storylines that you could tell. So I think that's a good point. Try and get them invested in the emotion. But I mean, our main point is just if your wife doesn't like sports, tough. Yeah, respect it. Deal with it. But yeah, and I mean, if you want to help your wife or girlfriend get to know the players better, we talk to their moms sometimes. Just saying. Shameless plug.
Watch
okay. Anyway, as for what's next, we are playing Utah. It is a rivalry week. We are nervous. The wave of nausea is already here.
Oh my gosh.
So that is at 5:30 Mountain Daylight Time. So 5:30 in Utah. That's going to be in Salt Lake City at Rice-Eccles Stadium. We're a little bit worried about numbers because we know a lot of BYU fans who are not really interested in visiting that stadium. So if you're going, be loud. If you're not going, it's on Fox. We're literally on primetime TV, so that's really cool.
It is. I'm very proud of all you people going to the game, though. You're very brave.
Please yell out for us. We won't be there. Sorry. Our first sponsor is the cop that was also a BYU fan that let Russell Pham and whoever was traveling down with him off without a ticket as they were on their way to Arizona. So
that's pretty good.
That's a good fan right there.
Also sponsored by Max Hall and John Beck, alumni flag bearers at the Arizona game. Hashtag beat Utah.
Hashtag beat Utah. Seriously. May you always stay loyal to the white and blue. For Jess, I'm Mary. We'll see you next week.